Good morning, everyone. One of the famous proverbs in ancient texts says, someone who's skilled in their work will stand before kings. It is an honor to be here this morning with such a skilled professionals in their work. My capstone title is Exploring the Mechanism of Grounding Combined with Acupuncture in Relation to Electrical Properties, a Theory Analysis and Proposal. Grounding combined with acupuncture is a method of delivering a negative ions from the earth through a needle that is inserted into the targeted tissue area of the body. This mechanism is based on electrical properties as well as polarity and its characteristics, which is a portion of the traditional Chinese medicine theory in the energetic systems of the human body. Scholars in modern science have long studied the interaction between negative ions and positive ions in cells. And they began to recognize the relationship between the healing mechanisms and cell polarity. Recently, some health practitioners have been using patches on the surface of the skin in order to incorporate with the grounding into their practice. It is my hypothesis that compared to patches on the surface of skin, the possible efficacy of acupuncture needle with the grounding may produce greater result because acupuncture needles go directly into the targeted tissue area to bring negative ions from the earth, from the ground, into the region. Therefore, adding the grounding process to acupuncture treatment may augment acupuncture's health benefits. Clinical research data in near future is essential to provide robust evidence. Introduction overview. The focus of this overview is to compare the TCM balancing mechanism yin and yang and the flow of qi and establish a connection with the scientific discovery of electrical property in human physiology. This may be associated with the understandings as well as the benefits of grounding combined with acupuncture treatment. I call Jie Jianfa. The new word comes out now. So let's look how Wang Di interpreted natural phenomena back in 2,000 years of a simple language. Chapter 17 of Ling Shu, which observed, therefore, yang channel operates the channel energy of 4 organs, and the yin channel operates the channel energy from the zhang organs. As we all know, the yin and yang channel energies pour into each other like a ring, terminate and start again without end. This term can also refer to the ability of living cells, tissues, and organisms to produce electrical fields and the response of cells to electromagnetic field. Let's look what kind of scientific discovery correlate with the Wang Di illustrations. Suwen chapter 2:1, direct translation is like this. It's quoted from the Cornell University translation. The 3 months of summer, they denote opulence and blossoming. The chi of heaven and the earth interact, and the myriad beings bloom and bear fruits. Paraphrase translation. In the month of summer, there is an abundance of sunshine and rain. The heavenly energy descends, and the earth's energy rises. When these energies merge, there is an intimate connection between heaven and earth. As a result, plant matures and animals, flowers, and fruits appear abundantly. As you see this illustration, when Earth's minus ion and the heaven's positive ion with the moisture, abundant moisture, put together, collided as a lightning happened. Lightning around the Earth more than 1 billion times whole year. Every day it happens somewhere around the Earth. And then atmospheric nitrogen's spreading, nutrishing the Earth itself, and bacteria happen, a lot of vegetables, fruits, and trees are grown, and animals will be beneficial, and human will also be beneficial. This is a simple but very clear illustration of the Earth's polarities, which explains the agricultural society of the people whose lifestyle and understanding of nature was limited compared to today's, and how the positive electrons from the heaven and the negative electrons from the earth interact and myriad beings bloom and bear fruits more than 2,000 years ago. So now we understand what kind of a background and circumstances beyond these sentences. Let's look at the sentence again. So now, when we read this text, we may smell fragrance of flowers. We may smell and taste sweetness from vegetables and fruits. Let's recite this beautiful poem. I'm going to recite in my mother tongue. 하삼월 차위번수 천지기교 만물화실. We see Huangdi nature is alive again. Another translation is chapter 75 of Lingshu, which observed Jiehuo method is to observe the harmony of yin and yang and to supplement it if it is insufficient, and reduce it if there is overflow. In this way, it is easy to move each other to make equilibrium to treat diseases. It is my agreement with Jiehuo method above. It suggests that the author of Jiehuo method statement had knowledge of the overall mechanism in the balancing the electrical flow related with the human disease, despite their interpretation of a bioelectric mechanism in their time. Like way heaven and earth are balanced through lightning, which I just explained in the previous slide. And now, modern scientists' discovery will correlate with what the Huangdi nature says in 2,000 years ago. This one is the wound healing mechanisms of cell migration due to electrical polarity. 1885, whose name is Peter, observed rapid movement of the epithelial cells over the surface of a fresh wound. He thought this activity was because of each cell has its own mobility, like amoeba movement. But later in 1955, Lashy discovered it, that he injected the carmine granules, which is a red color dyes, and observed through the microscope and find out a massive movement of epithelial cells. And he discovered that it is due to electrical polarity. Lashy's finding can explain one of the mechanisms of acupuncture treatments for wounded condition. I will go more detail into later slide, but this is very important how we could explain how acupuncture works. The mechanism of acupuncture is from connected. So this is the slide. Regularly, the negative ions on the surface of the skin and positive ions chloride like that under the skin. Once wounded happen, then there's a pathway created it, and the negative ion goes into the deeper tissue area, and positive ions going merging to those areas because cell polarity kicks in, they pull each other. And another one is Dr. Baker measured the amount of electricity in each part of the body. He measured all the surface skin. As you see, toes are minus 56, ankles are minus 64, forehead is minus 42. So he measured all the electricities, voltages on our body. He also confirmed the wound mechanism, healing mechanism. The current of injuries outside is a minus, and going into the deeper tissue level, because now punctured it, and then minus negative ions going accumulated into the area, wounded area. Then now workers, nerve, leukocyte, fibroblast, these are all positive entities. So they're pulling each other. And the wound healing mechanism start. So now you see how acupuncture works. Without wound, once the acupuncture needle goes into the targeted area, automatically create slight kind of a wounded condition. So negative ions from the surface follow through the needle where the targeted stagnation or blood status, and because it also positively charged it, stagnated it, so workers cannot go there. It's positive pushing each other, right? Once needles goes in, negative there, and workers finally approached it, starting to healing process. That's, I believe, part of the explanation how acupuncture works. Now, 1950, Dr. Yoshio Manaka, who invented the ion pumping code. In the middle section, there's the black color there. There's a germanium diode, which characterizes just sending electrons to one direction. So he discovered it from excess area, connected it to the deficiency area. Then automatically this flow happens and making an equilibrium balance happen. That's on Dr. Manaka's finding. And we've been using as acupuncturists more than 50 years about that, the code right now. My hypothesis is adding the grounding process, which is related to negative ions, acupuncture treatment may augment acupuncture's health benefit. Compared to patches on the surface of skin, grounding with combined acupuncture needles may produce greater result because the acupuncture needles penetrate into the targeted tissue area directly and bring negative ions from the ground into the targeted region. This application could contribute to the treatment outcomes of acupuncture in patient care. I believe it could be possible all over the world in patient care. The research objective and overview, I'm trying to make it research-based to understand the mechanism of grounding. And the study results are followed: rapid reduction of inflammation, rapid reduction of elimination of chronic pain, dynamic blood flow improvement to better supply the cells and tissues of the body with the vital oxygen and nutrition, reduced stress, increased energy, improved sleep, accelerate healing from injuries and surgeries. The possible application is huge, unlimited. Just like an acupuncture-like effect, we could adding more effect on it. Now let's look at the literature review. This literature reviews, there's no research conducted yet with the acupuncture combined with the grounding method. So I'll try to collect the data which more like acupuncture-like effect from the grounding with the patches, similar. This one is a 1 hour the contact with the patches. It's a pilot study, double-blind procedures, 40 male aged volunteers, and they take the TTI, total thermal imaging scanners. And the other one is how grounding is safe. That's the research. They conducted it. 50 participants in the study consist of 23 males between 12 different ages, and they touched the lamp and measured the voltage. And then 1 foot away, they measure the voltage again, and then 3 foot away, they measure the voltage. And this one is trying to making a eccentric muscle damage. See how grounding works compared to the sham grounding group of people. 32 healthy young male was recruited it, and performed 200 knee bends in 10 minutes, which means 1 minute they have to knee bend 20 times. So very fast. So eccentric damage happened. And this one, as you see, picture, patches on the both sole and also on the palms. And they measured the changes. The 28 relatively healthy individuals participated in the study. So the switch was off first, so they measured the baseline first. And then 40 minutes later, switch is on again for 40 minutes, they measured it. And then 40 minutes off again, they measured it. So they have a solid base and the grounding after effect. Total of 120 minutes, the long period was required for this test. And the other one is the effect of earthing, grounding on human physiology. This test was conducted in 2006. 58 healthy adult subjects to determine the effects of grounding on both physiological and the electrophysiological aspect of human body. This one using a biofeedback equipment. It's JJ Engineering made by. And they sat comfortably on the recliner and ground patches attached it on their soles. So the methodology, criteria in the search methodology, because I already mentioned there's no research data in the acupuncture and combined grounding yet, I think we could make it. The great instructors and teachers here under the name of VIM. Despite the limited amount of data related to grounding in acupuncture, but still enough credible data was found in grounding with the patches. Sources that were mostly between the date of January 1st, 2004 and until December 31st, 2018. So grounding along with the human body, grounding and stress. Grounding is harmful from the database of the PubMed, EBSCOS, Google Scholar database are using it. So inclusion and exclusion, double-blinded study and published in peer-reviewed articles collected, and articles in English as well as human-controlled trial was collected. All over the 21 articles, among them, I collected 10 of them, and the 5 articles chosen for the capstone systemic review. So bring the ideology of the efficacy of supplementing acupuncture with the grounding in promoting beneficial health result. These are the basic reasons why I'm collecting data from those 5 articles. Let's look at the result. First one, as you see, before and after, the lateral view of a face, before and after, you see the huge difference on the thermal image. The anterior torso view thermal image, the p-value is 0.002. Face lateral view of a p-value is 0.017. So very accurate data they collected. This is one of a kind research data they conducted it. Oops. And then another on voltage, if ground is harmful or not. So as you see, ungrounded, so not grounded yet, they touch the lamp. The measurement of 6.87 average voltage, 1 foot away, 3 foot away, ungrounded yet. So, yeah. And then 1.2 and 141, and grounded at 0.151. So it's actually AC voltage was reduced by an average of 58-fold. The huge differences they conducted with it. And this one also, the damage part, eccentric, they measured the creatine kinase, which is an enzyme level in the blood. As you see, the blue line is sham grounded. Second day, the enzyme activity is huge, which means inflammation, pain. For the grounded group, red line is still very steady. So inflammation is under control. That's the test result. P-value is less than 0.01. Emotional stress, as you see also, once people active and rest, automatically parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. There's a certain level of resting period happen. That's what it happened in the blue line. But the green line is, you see, much higher level of resting result accumulated. It's about almost 68% compared to the normal resting. So almost double the result came out. And the other one is human PCL. They measured with patches. I'm trying to emphasize here, once grounding intervention begins, as you see this line, almost split second of time, the electric activity on the muscle drops it right away. That's very relaxed mode. As you could see from the result. Grounding with combined acupuncture needles are expected to produce greater and fast result versus the body's own natural speed of healing process or applying patches on the skin. That's what we could discuss it. This is actually a same method which is illustrated in the balance of yin and yang to treat the body in the Wang Din aging. We are ahead of the game in the health practice field. Let's look, this is a patches on the surface, like a pericardium 6 area. And this is my drawing. PC6 needle goes into the targeted area, and Sanjo 5 goes into targeted area. From ground, introduced to the targeted area. You see the differences between the patches and acupuncture, right? And another one, as you see, rheumatoid arthritis condition around the shoulder area. It's a redness happen, inflammation happen. Let's look what happens if acupuncture needles introduce it into those targeted area. Negative ion goes in, Li15, Sanjo 14 again, and healing process doubled and tripled in normal healing speed. That's my opinion so far. And another one, it will be applied to the scalp acupuncture too. Same way. It goes into the brain so they can relax. In my experience, over 10 years of grounding in my clinic, patients say, "Oh, I feel good. I never slept this good before." I've heard them all the time because of that reason. Now, this is animation. Imagine there's a skeletal muscle cells, very unhappy right now. But now, the positive ions are on the shoulder and neck region. Let's see how it goes out to the ground, then negative ion goes in. Then look at the face of a skeletal muscle, how it's going to be happy. But this will happen in the millisecond of time, okay? This is very slow motion. See, very happy, right? Now, this is the actual the scene from my clinic. So 64 years old Latino male patient suffering from type 2 diabetes for over 15 years works with the crutches due to foot rigidity and pain, getting more aggravated for the last 2 months. So he came. So this wire connected to the ground, and then go to the patient's ankle, this case. UB60, kidney 3, and some other arch point is pointed because of the ankle is so rigid. So now you see how it works, how it looks like it. I have 5 minutes now. Now, this is the third time, after third time of treatment. Let's see how his movement was changed. Of course, the result may vary depending on the circumstances. We have to consider that also. So let's take a look. There's no sound here, but imagine there's a shouting and a lot of people surprising. That's the background sound, okay? Latino move. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Yeah, you see, patient himself face very happy, and his wife's crying. We could adding this the effect to our clinic, and we could spreading the word to the world. That's my hope. So additional clinical value, human body require resting state. But busy lifestyle, stress, and EMF can make it difficult to restore a healthy rhythm, as we all know. According to the researchers, the average voltage of a resting membrane potential is around minus 70 millivolt, which means a minus 70 millivolt healing start, resting start. So I collected data from other articles. These are the cell types and their resting potential voltages right there. So from hair cell to photoreceptor cells, each cell has a different resting voltages there. The last one is a minus 15 to minus 95 millivolt. Those are the range of resting happening in the cellular levels. Now, this is my grounding, and I measured it. Without grounding, it's 149 millivolt. Of course, my clinic itself already grounded it. So compared to normal other places, fairly low voltage is already there. You see, remember that the danger of the grounding, when they touched it, 3 volts there, right? Which means 3,000 millivolts already there. But now, grounded it minus 75 millivolt, more go down minus 120 millivolt. So consider this the measurement. See, minus 15 to minus 95 millivolt is inside of minus 120. So in my own opinion, we have a potential to research more deeply and making an environment for all the cells resting very easily. Conclusion, according to modern research, the natural mechanism for healing includes the migration of negative ions to a wounded area. They already discovered it recently. Some practitioners utilize patches on the skin into their practice. In comparison, it is reasonably hypothesized that by using acupuncture needles in conjunction with grounding, this may produce greater result due to being able to specifically target a tissue area by utilizing acupuncture needles to attract negative ions from the ground and thus promote healing. In order to develop a comprehensive understanding of the efficacy of grounding combined with acupuncture treatment, it requires additional clinical research in the near future. I believe as a VIM program student, we have a great teachers here, Dr. Chu and Dr. Lau. We could conducting real clinical research on this subject. Thank you, and thank you again.
Questions and comments, okay. First of all, I congratulate this very innovative thought. I think that I'm glad our students not in the small box think more widely. So you can think anything. That's what the doctor degree for. Okay, so not only narrow down to only one aspect of the research. So that's a very good thought. Now I have some questions for you, as I do everybody. So you have a list of different cells.
Yes.
Different cells have different negative ion
Yes.
voltage, right?
Yes, yes.
So can you tell me which cells more negative millivolts, more negative power, and more effect, or is that associated with effectiveness? Which tissue you put in and more cause more effect?
Yes, that's a great question. Actually, we could conducting the research on that subject also. But there's a, yes, my opinion, because as you see, hair cell is a minus 15 millivolt, and the photoreceptor cells, the minus 40, and the skeleton muscle cells are 95 millivolt. What ground and patching research conducted with those areas, skeletal muscle cells, because this is a most negative area. So once the grounding ions, negative ions introducing it, this might be the first effect, very good improvement we could see it. That's my opinion.
So your answer is that the more negative, the better results.
Yeah, because
Tissue, but needing into the tissue with more negative, call it potential.
yes.
Is it better results?
Oh, because this is a regular, normal condition of a measurement. But as we see, stress, electromagnetic pulse, and the diet, acidity, this minus 95 millivolts is not there. It's already ruined it. That's the reason pain there, stagnation there, irritation there. So that's the reason want to introduce this natural negative ion environment into the targeted tissue area, which I already explained, through the needle will have a most effective result.
So you are saying that when you have illness, these potential will become not as normal. So you put needle there to restore it.
Yes, so that's very good question. So please don't confuse with it any type of circumstances related with the polarity intervention of the imbalance condition. It would be helping greatly first. Of course, from that level, because the polarity is restored again, and the circulation is getting better, blood supply is there, nutrition is there, and of course, with some other modalities, it will result good benefits.
So another question, have you compared, since you said the needle into tissue, which caused this grounding effect, which is the property of electronic property of the acupuncture. Have you compared the TENS, which is on surface only, not into the tissue?
Yes.
Have you compared to this any measurement here? So
Yes.
you measure the when you put needle into, right?
Yes,
Have
yes.
you measure if you put patch in the surface?
Yes, thank you for that question. The electrostimulators, once introduced to the targeted area, which connect with the needles in the area, electrostimulator is just the sine wave or square wave we could select from the buttons. But this is not just the one side ions going there. It's a kind of a plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus. So which means more likely a stimulation effect, not like influenced by this electrical polarity effect.
But my question is that if there's nothing to do with electrostimulation,
Yes.
the needle itself, without electrostimulation, like Yellow Empress always said,
Yes, yes.
because 1,000 years ago we don't have electrostimulation.
Exactly.
So when needle into the body also have same effect, which is cause the ground, according to what you
Yes.
show us.
In my own experience, about 10 years ago, I've been doing this, and compared to the without grounding and just the needle itself, I see significant difference. That's why we could,
Difference?
yes,
You have electrostimulation and non-electrostimulation.
yes, difference there, yes. That's the reason we need to conduct this subject into the research. And we need the fund from the NIH and then Johns Hopkins through the giant here.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Yes.
Very good presentation. But I think this is a very innovative idea. Yeah, very innovative idea. But I think one critical question is, although you use the concept of Chinese medicine, we call it 天人合一, right? Heaven and the human body integrated together.
Yes, yes.
But this one looks like the ground and human body integrated together, right?
Okay.
But you know that different place has different surroundings.
Yes, that's correct.
From the point of the application of your novel idea,
Yes, yes.
you should carefully think about how to standardize it.
Yes, yes, yes.
different surroundings different, right?
Yes.
You cannot think the northeastern part of America and the southwest part of America may be very different.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. If you have seen diseases,
Yes.
how to standardize this?
Yes.
I think this part you need a strengthening it. If you want to get a grant from the public channel, this part you cannot avoid it. And also, it's good for to increase to have more and more people to use it.
Yes.
Otherwise, people cannot follow a standard protocol.
Yes.
Yeah, but overall, I think this idea is very good, very innovative.
Yes, thank you. I thought about that part, how to standardize this procedure into the clinical trial. Because as Dr. Chu mentioned, different environment create different voltages. For example, in my clinic, because I already grounded it for the patients, psycho patients, so fairly low voltage compared to other clinics already. So just like what Dr. Chu said, if this conducting the research is happened in certain environment, which already voltage is higher than any others, so how could we making a solid baseline first? So what I'm thinking, making a grounding the facility first, to measure the voltage without any conducting the treatment yet. And then I'll try to do any different areas, grounding first, and then measure the voltage inside and compare it. If there is similarities, consistency there, then we could say this is a solid baseline before starting it. But I think it's very possible because as you see the other the slide, once ground intervention starting happen, then the electrical activity on the muscle is dropped it almost zero. That's what they keep recording it. Also, I could see from my measurement. I think that's a great point to making a baseline. Thank you.